All right, welcome to the Uggs talking about Alone, season 10. Yee! Wow, the eagle, insert eagle scream here. Okay, so we are talking about episodes 3 and 4 of the History Channel's Alone. This is my take. This is the first thing I think of now that we've been watching this season. There's a lot of broken people this season.
Yeah. What do you mean?
There's a lot of people who have some need for closure.
Right. Some personal trauma.
There's a few people who are going, I love being a survivalist. I love being an outdoorsman. But they're very few and far between.
That's true.
Everybody has some kind of fractured something in their life.
That they're trying to heal.
Some trauma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of daddy issues.
I agree.
Crazy.
I agree.
So episode 3 was, there were some people that went home. Our favorite, okay, first of all, we're terrible at predictions. Clearly, we're awful. Very bad.
Well, I always forget the show is one of those shows where it's like sometimes they just break and you don't see it coming.
No.
Or they get hurt or sick.
Well, that's true. Yes. And so, we all thought it was Lee's to lose.
For sure.
This Native American native who's from Alaska, who knows how the wilds of it.
He has to have been through far worse than what he went through.
Well, according to his talking to the camera while he's building a huge cabin, the cabin thing is the kiss of death, man.
Why? What?
People build giant cabins and then they have no reserves and they have to tap. It's happened to 2 people on this season already.
They were just exhausted. Yeah, I agree.
But Lee's clearly he had some resentment over his father.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, sure. Don't take any food, even though your children are starving. And I'm like, whoa, this guy, he's got some issues. But he just was like, I can't catch fish. I don't have any weight. I'm out. And I don't want to starve again. He knows what it feels like to be starving.
That's true. And that is when that came out.
And he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to. Maybe it was reminder triggers.
I agree. I think he's like, I have felt this before when I was a small child and I never want to feel this way
again. And probably,
again.
when you're a kid, you have no
He had
control.
no control.
You have no choice.
None.
And it sounds like his dad was making choices that caused the family to suffer.
What a surprise.
And he's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
actually, I'm okay with that.
I was fine with it. Yeah, he clearly needed to go. He's like, I have come to peace with my father, and I was like, well, I mean, if that was the journey for you, fine. I mean, I think his intentions were to stay out there as long as he could. And then mentally he just couldn't do it.
Sure. Well, it always sounds like a great idea when you get chosen to be on Alone, because honestly, think of all the people that put in to be on the show.
Yes.
And they pick 10.
I know.
So if you get picked, you're like, oh my God.
I'm going to make the most of it.
I'm doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mikey decided to rebound. He rebounded. He's like, I'm fine
what a
now.
Shock.
And I was like, God damn it.
I know. And
I still don't know if he's going to make it all the way. He's kind of a whiny butt.
Yeah, he is.
But that doesn't mean he can't make it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he just felt like crap. And
not a fan, but
we'll see. He
clearly, I don't know.
He might surprise us. We are only on the 3rd episode. Well, technically the 4th, which we're about to get to. Yeah,
it's true. So he got his poop together. I'm really happy for him.
And Cade was Cade in that episode at all?
A little.
Some of them the episodes have none of the other contestants at all
because there's so many. They split.
Right.
But
they're finally getting down there. So
yes, already. So Anne was the farmer. She was a little bit older.
Yes.
She just couldn't get enough food.
Yeah.
And I believe she built I don't know if she didn't build a big dwelling or anything like that, but she just simply could not get enough food and she was getting really weak.
Yeah.
And she
was quite a bit older.
Do you remember?
I mean, she wasn't old, but she was 56.
When she was sitting in the middle of her camp area and she's tried to make a moose call. And I'm like, I don't think any healthy moose is going to come toward you. That sounds horrifying.
Right.
And then she goes, is that a moose? And then she's like, what am I doing? I couldn't even process it if I got it.
I was thinking that too.
She was so weak.
I'm like, hun, what are you going to do with a freaking 600-pound animal?
You're not going to even be able to let alone kill it, let alone process it before it goes bad.
And that's why I keep, they're all keep saying like, I need to find a bear. I need to find, I'm like, what are you going to do? You have an arrow. You're going to penetrate a bear and kill it?
Or a moose?
With a freaking arrow?
Mooses are the size of minivans.
They're huge.
They're giant. So when she tapped,
You can shoot a bear and it'll keep going.
yeah, when she tapped, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
She became overwhelmed so quickly.
She really did.
I was like, you know what, Anne? I go, you ain't too old for this earth, but you're too old for this.
I agree.
And I don't think all 56-year-olds are too old.
No, she
or
just
59-year-olds.
She was weathered.
She was not physically fit for this process.
I mean, think about it. You and I are not too far away from that age. We don't look anything like, I mean, you know what I mean?
She has had a life.
She's like
lived
my grandmother.
She has lived some life. And maybe she lied about her age. We don't know.
That's true.
I mean, she's
I
like,
might.
I'm 63 years old and I can kick. And I can axe. You never know.
Yeah.
She could have maybe fibbed a little. We don't know.
I probably would have.
She rounded down. I would never do this.
I would never do this
Never
either. I don't
do
even know what I'm
this.
saying.
For God's sake. Then episode 4 came, which had a lot more action. I thought there was a lot more action.
It's finally starting to, well, because they're finally getting past that initial, where am I going to put my shelter?
Yeah, they've decided.
They've kind of figured out how they're going to eat.
Yes.
They're trying to find a groove.
Yes. I will say one thing we did neglect to discuss. He's a dark horse, and I think he might do quite well as Alan, the high school teacher.
Perhaps.
He set up those snares, and he caught... he's like a walking dad joke.
Yeah.
He caught that little creature.
I don't think he's gonna win.
Well, I don't know if he'll win, but I think he's gonna go I hope he goes further.
Okay.
He's got such a great mental attitude.
Yeah.
Dad jokes all the time. He was introducing his dwelling and showing us like it's a real estate agent.
Right. He was funny.
But he had set up snares and he caught an endangered protected species. It's like a mini cat.
Right.
And he had to set it free. And he's like, please don't scratch me.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cute.
It, and he felt so badly that he cut all his snares down. He goes, I'm fishing.
I don't want to catch something that I shouldn't.
Yep,
yeah.
I'm fishing.
Just like, Luke is our Hawaiian dreadlock dude.
Yes. A lot of people don't like him for some reason.
I do like him. I liked him too.
Fine.
I thought he was funny. And
I did too.
And I was not expecting him to tap out.
Well, he got sick.
He did get sick, but he was sick for like the day.
Well, I think this is what I think happened. Because, he was very graphic about what happened to him.
That was so disgusting.
First of all, he was catching an inordinate amount of food. He was full. He had like 11 fish. He was struggling to process and eat it before it would go bad, so he was smoking a lot. And so there's two things that potentially happened. I think he was one of the ones that drank clean out of the he did. He drank out of the lake.
He said he did.
And then
which
also
is dumb.
I know.
It's the stupidest thing. Why? You should constantly be boiling water and keeping it so it's cold.
There's only one contestant I have seen that successfully has drunk out of the lake and not gotten sick, and it was JP from last season. He literally... He was Mexican and he had the stomach of a goat.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
The man could eat anything. And if you can handle the water in Mexico or what,
honestly,
you can drink anything.
Well,
that's just the truth.
It's the truth.
It's
my friend who's from Mexico and she just got back from a trip and she said the first 5 days she did nothing but sit on the toilet. and
because she's not used to the water.
Yeah, and they get their water pumped in from the city.
Yes.
So when it runs out, it's gone. She said they were out of water in the first 2 days. And the mother-in-law they were staying with, she's like, really?
She's mad.
Well, yeah. She's like, can you shit a little more maybe? Because now the whole house doesn't have water. Thanks to you. You American.
Right. So Luke, he started saying, he goes, I've got bubble gut. Now I have heard other contestants say this.
Yes.
And they all are concerned they have Giardia.
Yes.
Or Giardia. And so they're like, I don't know, well, hopefully if it's food poisoning,
it'll pass
and I'll be okay. And so he's laying down and he's trying really hard.
He looked uncomfortable.
He looked very uncomfortable.
And can you imagine not having any Pepto-Bismol or anything?
Nothing.
You're literally just got to
and have some needle tea.
I've seen them do it.
Well, it's peppermint or mint or not mint, but anyway.
It's got that evergreen.
Spruce.
Yes.
Anyway, then next day he's like, well, I was laying in bed and I thought I had to fart because I'm so bubble gutty.
And the way you said it to him, can you pronounce the word a little harder?
So I farted.
God, he's like, I really thought I had a big... I can't even say that word. It's so awful to me.
So he goes, so I did. He goes, except it wasn't a fart. And it was diarrhea. And I diarrheaed in my sleeping bag naked. And all I could think of is, can you imagine peeing out of your butt in a sleeping bag?
Well, I would never take the chance.
It would be like being in a sausage casing.
Oh my God. And then he's sitting, and as he's telling us the story, he's sitting next to the sleeping bag.
I know.
And we're all wondering, did you wash the sleeping bag?
Did you cleanse it?
There's no way you could have, because sleeping bags are like sponges. You get them wet and they're like 6,000 pounds.
Oh my God.
Right?
Stephanie.
And you have to hang them on something to let them drip dry. And he has no soap or anything.
All I knew was when he said that he did it in a sleeping bag, I'm like, well, unless he has a second sleeping bag, it's curtains for him.
And sorry, who sleeps naked in a sleeping bag in the middle of the wilderness?
Someone who has no fear, apparently.
God, bugs, spiders, anything could crawl. I mean, no. Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
So when he said that, I went, uh-oh.
I knew he was.
It's over.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, I hear a bear. So he goes and he misses 2 or 3 times. And then he starts crying because he realizes it's a mama and a baby. And
right.
It's very illegal.
It's illegal and it's wrong, yeah.
And morally wrong. And so...
And he's like, I'm so glad I didn't hit it because...
He goes, it's a sign. I need my mama bear. And so we're
like...
And my cub. And so... I mean, I'm sad that he got sick because I think that's why he was so emotional.
For sure.
I think he felt like garbage.
Yeah.
I go into this the Reddit of the Alone subreddit because I'm curious about what people... They are so unforgiving about Luke.
Oh.
First of all, they didn't like him very much.
They thought he was a chicken?
No, they thought that I think it was because his father is literally one of the main, quote unquote, inventors of this lifestyle. They're like, he's just, trying to prove or whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what he's doing. And he's actually quite skilled, by the way.
Yes, he was. His shelter was amazing.
He had 2 shelters.
Yeah.
And he goes, I definitely would win alone cribs. I'm like, you would, dude. You
Absolutely.
would. It was amazing. I was sad to see him go.
I was too, but you know what? Sickness will get you every time.
And you can't mess with it, man.
You can't mess with it. I mean,
he knew it. He's like, I need antibiotics.
Yeah, he probably did.
Yes.
You can feel when your body is... When your body is reacting and it's not just something that's going to go away,
right.
you know.
It's true.
So yeah, I was sad to see him go, but now we're down to 6 because we also lost
Jody,
which I was a little surprised we lost Jody. She had done all that work to her freaking shelter, but she was living off berries and birch moss.
Here's the deal with Jody. I have strong thoughts on Jody. Jody is absolutely a badass woman.
Yes.
She went out there.
She was.
She wanted to prove herself that she could do it without anyone's help because she felt like she was a prisoner in her own home, all that stuff. So she spent every ounce of energy she had building this incredibly oversized cabin.
It was like a house. Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And never once ate protein.
I know.
And
by the way, it was like day 21.
Yeah. 3 weeks without
so she's
any
out
kind
there
of anything.
For any food. Yeah.
She's like, well, I just need to finish those. And then she's sitting in this cabin, half dead. She lost 27 pounds, Stephanie, in 3 weeks.
Lot of weight.
Every time they say how much a woman loses out there, I'm like, you know what? I got to fucking do it. I just have to do it.
I have to go
do it. I have to go to alone.
Well, it's like not only are they not eating, but they're burning calories because of the work they're doing.
They're working all day,
all the time.
All night.
Yeah.
So when she's like, this place feels like a prison. I was like, God dang it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you are a waste of a slot because you went out there to build a cabin and come home.
Right?
And that is garbage.
Yeah.
I was mad.
She didn't even hunt or fish or do
annoyed.
anything. Yeah, I agree.
What are we? We just spent 4 episodes watching you build a cabin.
And now
congratulations.
Right. 100%.
You could have done this in your backyard, by the way. You could have said, no one help me. And it would have been fine.
Right. It would have been.
It would have been like, Mom, you did it. You're great.
Yeah.
Good. Let's go camping.
Right. No.
God,
I agree.
So annoyed.
So now that we're down to 6,
yes.
I feel very strongly about Wyatt.
I love Wyatt.
Oh, do you?
Okay,
good, because I do too.
Him. He made a few mistakes.
Him to win. He did his fish.
He fed the otters like a fool.
We all knew that was going to happen, right?
Of course. He even said that. He goes, well, this is what I get for being lazy. I'm like, how can you be lazy about food?
Well, and that night when he was leaving, I was like, it's over. They're done.
He almost said, come be my pets.
Yeah.
Take my fish.
Yeah. They're probably like, yay, free fish.
Thank you, sir.
They're just sitting here in a little puddle waiting to be eaten.
I mean, I love it.
It's like going to the drive-thru.
God, it's like grocery store
Absolutely.
on the beach.
Yep. I knew that was going to happen.
Yes, we all did. Yeah, but I do like Wyatt.
He's faring very well. He's still got lots of weight on him.
He looks
eating.
Good. Yeah, he looks really good.
That fishing rod he made.
Amazing.
He doesn't need a net or anything.
Nope.
He's like,
doesn't need a thing.
Dude, no.
my top 3 right now, not necessarily in this order, but would be Wyatt, Taz, and Alan. Although I will give props to Melanie because she is really mentally strong.
She is.
Really mentally strong. And she's building, and she can build some really cool stuff.
So I think she's done building for the most part, right?
She built a wood shed for her to keep her firewood
to keep her wood warm,
dry.
cold.
Warm, cold, dry.
Yeah, you knew what I meant.
Yes.
That's an Uggism right there.
But she could also potentially use it for food later.
True.
When it gets cold.
Yeah.
So she's actually doing amazingly well, and I just love her attitude.
Right,
I really love her attitude.
Yeah.
I want her to stay, but again, she is a thinner woman.
Well, she caught her fish. That's how her little segment ended.
Yes.
Was her catching a fish. So that's a good sign.
Okay, so who are the 2 that you think will tap next?
Next, oh God, that's hard to predict, but I really do think that Mikey probably will, and I think Cade will too. I don't think they'll be next necessarily. This is a hard show to predict because, like you said, they can slip and fall.
Sick and injuries.
They can get sick, and it can happen in a second, and then all of a sudden they're out, and it has nothing to do with their... But if they all stay healthy and no one gets hurt, then I really think that Wyatt and Taz probably have the best chance.
Yes.
I think it'll come down to them, but we'll
I
see.
think for me, next tap would be Mikey or Cade. I think Cade's going to have to, he's going to be forced to because he can't find a way to kill
He's not
animals.
Eating,
and he can't catch enough fish. So I think Cade or Mikey will be the next to tap.
Who's the one that caught the squirrel in the snare? Was that Cade?
No, that was Taz, I believe.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then as far as top, I would agree Taz and Wyatt are up there. I really would like to see Alan kind of stick it out. I really am enjoying him. Yeah. He's so funny. And he's doing really well with food as well.
Does Daryl watch the show with you?
Sometimes.
He's in and out on the show, huh?
Yes.
That's how Jerry is with Top Chef. Yes. But he likes Alone. So when I was watching the episode to catch up before the show today, he came in and was like watching it with me.
Yeah.
And every time we watch the show together, it's the same thing with him. So he's skinning the squirrel, right? And Jerry's like, "Oh, I
know. It's really, really hard. It's hard. Really hard." Okay, let me see. Final notes. Taz, he too lost a fish to something called a pine marten, which is why he created his food cabin that's now up in the thing.
Right. Yeah, he's like, so I lost half a trout.
He lost his gill net to the storm.
Oh, that's right. He was trying to fish it out with a stick.
But that's all my notes for the next. I'm very much looking forward to the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, me too.
People are tapping left and right now. 3 weeks seems to be the thing. 3 weeks is like the deal. And after that, if they can last, they'll go, "Oh, I just got to last 30 more days." Yeah, or whatever.
That doesn't look like they're gonna have to wait very long because they're down to 6. So
I don't know how many episodes are on this season, but I think there's only 10.
Yeah.
So we're
at 4.
We're almost halfway through.
Okay.
So we shall see. Well, snow's coming. Here we go. Winter is coming. Dun dun dun. Dun, dun. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and we will be back with another show of Alone. I can't do it. I sound like a freaking seagull.
I know.
All right. Bye.